Are you my minion?
Minion!
I tell you what to do.
Depends. What's up?
It's like the crazy people that walk around with
Saggy pants.
saggy pants. It's crazy.
It's my new look. I could do saggy pants too. Let me show them. I could do real saggy.
No, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see saggy pants.
Look at my underwear and butt crack at the same time.
All right.
Pull up your pants.
We have a tough subject to talk about. And
Yes.
we're going to leave it on the private group. Yeah. Because, you know, with the Me Too movement, the hashtag Me Too movement, there has been a lot that's come out.
A whole lot.
A whole lot. It's like everybody's being accused of everything now. Whether they are or not, I don't know. There's also a lot of people that are being convicted, I think, of things that have gone on in the past. And it can bring up a lot of stuff if you've been sexually molested, raped, date raped, whatever it is. There can be a lot of stuff that comes up, especially when you see these things in the news. And I think as a man who's married to a woman that may have had sexual molestation or violence, because that's what it is. It's violence. It's power. It's not a sexual thing, in my opinion. It's just power, and don't you think?
Yep. It has nothing to do with sex. Has everything to do with power.
Yeah.
So that's.
And I think we women, we tend to sweep things under the rug. Well, it really wasn't that bad.
It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal. I really shouldn't say anything. Depends on the degree of it as well.
I don't want to go to court.
I don't want to go to court. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want the hassle. That's a whole can of worms in and of itself.
Yep. And we're diving in.
But how does a woman have a healthy sexual relationship with her husband if she's dealt with past sexual abuse? Because those triggers can come up. Things can remind her. Here's something that is so beautiful and precious and wonderful has been used for evil and power and dominance, and it's been destroyed. And I think in women's brains, those things get destroyed. And it's really hard to be loving and kind and soft with the man that really does love you and wants to be with you in the right way because of past things. I hate how one thing can tarnish a beautiful marriage or a beautiful relationship. But there are some things, and I think, I don't know if this is specifically for the man or the woman, but I think it's a conversation. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of grace and patience that needs to happen.
A lot of patience on both ends.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
Like with anything, if you're struggling, there's going to be a trigger. If you're addicted to alcohol, you're going to have a trigger. And that's a conversation that you have with your spouse or your sponsor. Same thing with anything. If you're working through fighting not watching pornography and your spouse is your partner and your accountability partner, that there's a lot of conversations that have to come up with that, and a lot of grace as well. And it's the same situation when you're dealing with something so psychological and violating that a lot of patience and a lot of things that may trigger, depending on how far away it is as well, because time does heal. That you're going to have to, right? That you're going to have to walk through. So,
I think time is a healer if you let it. I think a lot of people hold on to things. I'm going to be really blunt here. People hold on to things as a crutch. Well, this happened to me, so I don't want to have sex with you tonight. Well, I have a trigger, so that whole, I think women, I hate to say this, I think women use it as a crutch.
That's why I'm not saying it.
This is why we are on this platform, because I've seen it. I know that women use it as a crutch, and I think if you talk through it and realize that your husband is not there to abuse you, we hope, I think there's a big difference there. I also think that women need to give their husbands a little bit of grace as well. Men definitely need to have grace and patience for their spouses.
Yeah.
But women do as well. It's like all of a sudden now I have all the power because now he's waiting for me. And now I'm sitting here going, no, I'm only going to have sex when I want to have sex because that's my choice now. It's like we take it back so fiercely that our bodies are no longer our husbands.
But technically, it's always your choice.
Of course, I'm not saying
your body
this is
mine.
such a weird boundary.
Right, your body is mine, but I don't.
I just have to give it up whenever I want.
I don't ever want to take it from you when you don't want to give it to me, and that's kind of maybe I'm just weird, but that's the thing that I like. I like having sex with you when you want to have sex.
Absolutely.
I don't like having sex with you if you don't.
I know. And I think there's a lot of women that pull back and I'm not ready, and their husbands are like, it's been 2 months. Please.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a lot of communication. We can't stress this enough. You guys have to communicate. You have to talk back and forth about this. I'm feeling this. Can you help me with this? If you give guys a solution to it, they're much more willing. Yes. How can I do this? You can say, I need you to ask my permission. I need to find a boundary here. Right. This is a hard line. I can't go past this. This is what happened to me. And I think there's a lot of women out there that have never even told their spouses about abuse that's happened. And that has prevented intimacy in their relationship, that the husband has no clue. He just doesn't even know why they don't have intimacy. And it's because we as women, we shove it under, we try to forget it. This is the person that should know absolutely everything about you and love you just as much. And if you're not communicating in a loving environment and they're not responding with grace and patience and kindness, it's a cause for disaster.
You're setting yourself up to fail.
And I know it's hard.
And you're setting your spouse up to fail too, because we don't have
a hard conversation.
If your spouse does not know, and you're not communicating, and say that you're of the type, well, you should know why I'm angry. No. That's never the answer. That's never the solution. That's never gonna work. If you don't give your husband or your spouse even practical ways to help you through it, to say, hey, I saw this, now I'm triggering today, I'm really edgy. You should have a plan in place before that happens. Yes. You shouldn't try and create a plan in the middle of it.
No,
and you cannot be
falling apart.
Angry with your husband when you have a past abuse experience and he doesn't know about it. You can't be angry with him because he doesn't know about it.
And he's trying desperately to figure out a way to love you, to please you in the bedroom, to do all these things. And if he doesn't know, that's a huge wall that is separating you two from absolute intimacy.
That he's continually banging his head against over and over again, trying to break through this wall that he doesn't know that it's there. And it's really frustrating. It's frustrating just in an argument, You should know why I'm angry. Well, no, tell me, and then I'll know why. Yeah. I can't read your mind. And your husband can't read your mind, and he seriously can't read your mind when there's abuse in your past. So it is an open, honest conversation.
And maybe it's something that you really, this happened and we never really talk about it. Tim and I, we are really open. We have to be. And just us doing this for the last couple of years has even brought even more conversation because we don't stop
We've
talking.
Had so many arguments. It's great.
But we don't stop talking.
It's a blessing.
I wouldn't say necessarily. It may be a little bit more arguments, but it's also communication. But it's communication. We talk, and I throw that right back at you. This is what I'm hearing you say. Yeah. And when he hears that, he knows, crap, I'm really in an argument that I may not be able to win here because she's really trying to understand me.
Well, I guess that's the whole huge. Entire thing is that if you approach your argument or if you approach this situation of how can this better my marriage?
And how can I help you?
When you have the Me Too talk, I'll call it.
Yeah, that's
you
good.
have to come at it with, this is going to better my marriage by having this conversation.
Yes.
This is going to better my intimacy with my husband.
Yes.
Because I'm going to have this conversation. And together, we're going to create and come up with our own tools to get through it, and then we'll be happier for it. And if you can't get to the point to where this is going to better my marriage, then you need to pray about it and think about it, because that's seriously being open and honest and letting your spouse know 100% about you without anything to hide is the best place to be.
And it might get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, a whole lot.
Trust me.
worse.
Yes.
What?
It does.
Wow.
You know that.
I'm perfect.
It gets worse before it gets better. But if you push through, continue to communicate. Ask for love. Ask for forgiveness. Don't let your pride get in the way. Continually offer grace for whatever your partner is telling you at the time.
Yeah.
We're not saying sit there and accuse each other or have condemnation for each other or call each other names or how could you have let this happen? How could you have done this? Or you never touched me because of your past. That shuts people down. Husbands, don't shut your wives down. But also, wives, give your husbands grace in this and let them try to love you. Tell them, you know what? That sexual act brings up a trigger. I don't want to do that. But this puts me in the mood. This brings me closer to you. You listening to me this evening and talking with me, spending time with me, watching a chick flick, bringing home that flower, that brings me closer to you. It awakens my body towards you. These are things we have to share with our spouses to really let them know, honey.
Because we don't know.
They don't know. They don't know what to do.
And
guys
she doesn't
totally
know either.
know.
It's both. It's a two-way street.
It is.
It's not
I'm
just...
learning with my body as well at the same time.
Yeah, and for guys, you're like, oh, it's just really easy. I'll kiss on them, go down on them, and then we'll just have sex, and that'll be it. That's not always the case.
You're saying that's what women can do?
Right. It's just kind of, oh, my husband's easy. I don't really
easy.
have to care about
I
it.
just have to give it.
I'll just have to give him
put
some
out.
sexual thing, and then he's good.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
That's not the case a lot of the
Men
time.
want intimacy as well.
We are emotional beings as well.
Yeah, don't
and
forget that.
You need to nurture the emotional being. And so as long as you're going through something really difficult and you nurture your spouse's emotional being, they will help you walk through it because you're there together. Especially with, again, the avenue of how is this going to benefit our marriage. I need to tell you about this horrible thing that happened to me. This is why I don't like doing this thing.
Whatever it is. Talk through it.
We need to talk about it and then work through it together.
Yeah.
And that will help build more intimacy than you have by just hiding it all of the time.
Yeah.
And then you're not alone anymore. You can actually go, I had this nightmare and it sucked.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I'm just having a bad day.
Rather than hiding it.
And that allows your spouse to be a blessing.
Yeah.
And go, wow, she's really having a bad day. I'll go get her some flowers. He's really having a bad day. I'll bake a cake.
Whatever it is.
Cake.
Yeah.
Who likes cake?
This is a tough subject.
Yeah.
But it still comes back to communication and grace.
But you do have to talk about it. All the tough subjects
know?
are hard if you don't ever talk about them.
Yeah, they are.
But once you start talking about them, you'll find that you'll receive healing for
Yes.
yourself just by
Yes.
communicating
Yes.
the bad things that happen.
Talk through it. Yeah.
So that's why there are grief counseling centers, so that you could talk about your grief. It's the same thing. You're going through grief on a sexual abuse, and you have to communicate what
Yeah.
you're going through, or you're never really going to get through it. You're just going to harbor it.
And hold on to it and hopefully bury it and never talk about it and hope it never comes up. Well, if you've been sexually abused and you marry someone, it's going to come up because you will plan on having sex with them. Sorry, that's a thing. And you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk. Communicate.
All right.
Private
Sorry
message
to-
us.
Yeah, sorry
this
to
is
get
a heavy one.
to
If
this earlier in the week like I said I was going to. But
if you have any questions, private message us. We're here for you guys. This is also our private group anyway, so we are a community here for each other. So if anyone else wants
Don't
to
be
leave a message
embarrassed.
below, don't be embarrassed. But, we can all talk through it and help one another out as well.
yeah,
All right.
I love you. Thank
Oh,
you
I
for
love
being
you.
graceful
For what?
and listening.
I'm innocent. All right.
Me too. Okay.
Peace out.